is Savannah. I'll be your safari guide here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve over the course of the next 2 weeks. Just a couple of real quick safety reminders before we do get started on our 2-week journey. First things first, as while the vehicle is in motion, we do ask you remain seated at all times. No standing or leaning out of the vehicle whatsoever. And if there are any young lap-sitting children, we do ask you keep them in the same lap. No lap swapping or trading, because I'd hate for anybody to bump out and get hurt. Welcome, and Jumbo, and welcome to the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Our very first stop here is going to be in the Little Eatery Forest. Many of the residents of the Little Eatery Forest are very shy. They do depend and rely heavily on their interesting coats and colors to stay hidden from predators. It's extra super important that we keep extra super eye peeled, all because it is pretty hard to see in here with all this dense vegetation. So it's extra super important that we keep an eye peeled, because it's kind of like nature's Where's Waldo in here. While there was some pretty beautiful vegetation and scenery here in the Little Eatery Forest, that was definitely not enough danger for my excitement and for my liking. So we are heading into a much more dangerous part of the reserve. We're heading into the Safi River, which is a pretty good place to spot some hippos and some pink-backed pelicans. Oh my goodness, what a rare sighting. There's a hippo out of the water during the daytime. Hippos spend all day in the water, and they only come up out of the water at nighttime to graze on the banks. They hold their breath for up to 8 minutes at a time, only coming up for a quick couple seconds for a breath of air and going right back down. Quite the opposite for me. In fact, I can only hold my breath for an astounding couple of seconds, coming up for 8 minutes worth of air. Hippos are, in fact, the most aggressive animal in all of Africa, which is pretty interesting because they are vegetarians. They do eat approximately 70 to 90 pounds of vegetation every single day. And a group of hippos, is called a bloat. Hanging out on the nesting island and having a beautiful swim in the pond, you'll spot some pink-backed pelicans. Pink-backed pelicans get their name from those beautiful and vibrant pink feathers that they show off on their backs during mating season in hopes that they'll find the perfect match. And if you look in the nests, you'll spot 2 new additions to the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Those are baby pink-backed pelicans. Ooh, this bridge doesn't sound too good. Let's get out of here. It looks like we're leaving the nice, dark, dense vegetation behind us and heading into some more nicer, more wide open spaces. Welcome, my friends, to my very favorite place here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. This is the Savannah. The Savannah, also known as the Serengeti Grasslands, is a migration station for millions of animals each and every year. It does allow for groups, packs, towers, herds, you name it, to get from one place to another safely, quickly, and efficiently. Looks like there's a pack of African wild dogs hanging out just over off on that left side. African wild dogs have been named the #1 most successful predator in all of Africa because their packs will literally outrun their prey until they pass out and keel over from exhaustion, therefore naming it the #1 most successful predator in all of Africa. While they look cute and cuddly on the outside, they are in fact the most vicious and most deadly predator in all of Africa. There's a couple or a tower of Maasai giraffes just on that left side. A tower is a name for a group of giraffes, well, because they tower over everything. They are indeed the world's tallest animals after all, and Maasai giraffes get their name from those beautiful rough splotchy patterns that they have on their coats. There's some Ankole cattle just on that left side as well. Ankole cattle are also known as the Watusi cattle after the tribe that first domesticated them years and years ago. The Watusi tribe. Now they're the only domesticated animals that do reside on this wildlife reserve, and Ankole cattle are actually a sign of wealth all over Africa. So the more Ankole cattle you have, well, the wealthier you are. Looks like there's some more Maasai giraffes just on the left. Maasai giraffes are born at 6 feet tall and are able to walk and even run within their very first hour of life. They grow to be about 18 feet tall, and their tongues are roughly 18 inches long, which is 1.5 feet, allowing them to be exceptional browsers, eating all the treats and goodies from the very tip tops of the trees that no one else in this whole wide world can reach, and giraffes typically only sleep about 30 minutes a day. Looks like there's a family of springbok just over off on that right side. Springbok are one of the smaller of all antelope species. Now, they're definitely not the smallest, but they are one of the smaller. They only grow to be about 33 inches tall at the shoulder, which is roughly between 2 and 3 feet tall. Though they are small, they are mighty. They're one of the top 10 fastest land animals in the world, and they get their name Springbok from their amazing ability to spring in the air 8 feet and forward 13 feet. And it looks like there's a Patterson's eland up just ahead. Patterson's eland are the world's largest antelope. They grow to be about 6 feet tall at the shoulder and can weigh up to 2,000 pounds. And up on the hilltop, you'll spot some white-bearded wildebeest, a whole herd of them to be exact. Wildebeest in Afrikaans translates to wild beast. They have the largest migration pattern in the world. There's about 1.5 million of them that will migrate 500 to 1,000 miles each and every year. Wildebeest are also known as gnu's, spelled G-N-U, because the sound when they vocalize and communicate to each other kind of sounds like gnu. Road closed. Road closed. How? Well, that's alright. We'll take the bypass. Looks as though we found our way into some red clay pits, which is a nice, solid, sturdy ground. Looks like we might have just missed some elephants. There's some pretty fresh tusk marks in the right on the right side. Elephants will use their tusks to dig out the red clay to get a vital dietary supplement of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. Things they don't quite get from their regular and everyday extreme greens. Looks like we're approaching a flamboyance of greater flamingos. A flamboyance is the name for a group of flamingos, and greater flamingos are the softest and most delicate shade of pink of all flamingo species. And if you take a look, you'll notice those little gray fluff balls. Well, those little gray fluff balls are baby greater flamingos. Baby flamingos are born and hatched in a nice dark gray color, and will remain very dark until about a year and a half into their lifetimes. At that point, they will have reached maturity and will have had a substantial amount of brine shrimp and beta-carotene-rich minerals, which is a perfect diet to create a beautiful pink flamingo. Without that diet, they wouldn't quite be that pop and pink that we know and love. In fact, they'd be more of a grayish white color, and if you've ever heard the phrase, "you are what you eat," well, that's exactly the case for these flamingos. They are what they eat, and that is pink. Looks like we just found our way into rhino territory, which, other than the savannah, is my favorite territory. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled. Looks like we might be making our way into some big cat territory. I spot a cheetah up ahead. Two of them. There are two cheetahs. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals in the world. Unlike all other cats, their claws never retract. They are always out and ready to go. It does provide a greater traction while they are running up to their astounding speeds of about 70 miles an hour. Their tails do also help in assistance while running. Their tails do act as a rudder to help guide and direct them more efficiently and more precisely while they are out catching their prey. It looks like we found a Kobe rock formation, which is a pretty good place to spot some lions. However, if we don't see them out and about right now, friends, no worries and no frets. They are nocturnal creatures. They do sleep about 18 to 20 hours a day, and they sleep during the day because their eyesight is only as good as ours. However, at nighttime, it's actually up to 6 times stronger, which allows for them to become more proficient and more efficient hunters. The females are the ones that go out into the hunting and the gathering at nighttime, while the males stay behind and guard the pride. The pride is a name for a group of lions, and usually within the pride, there are some Simbas. Simba means baby lion in Swahili. You also spotted the few waterbuck that are hanging out up on the hill on the left. Waterbuck get their name because they spend all of their lives primarily at a water source. They drink an absurd amount of water each and every day, and their coats emit this oily secretion which actually waterproofs their coats and makes them very stinky, which is good for them because, you know, no one wants to prey on a stinky animal. There's a warthog in the very back on the left. Be a little bit easier if I pull forward. Looks like a big hairy rock. Warthogs are burrowing creatures. In fact, they are the world's largest burrowing creatures. They build their own burrows, but they also very heavily rely on the burrows of others. When they go to sleep at night, they back into their burrows, allowing their razor-sharp tusks to be exposed, prepared to defend themselves if any unwanted situations were to arise. And it looks like there's a patch of ostrich eggs just off on the right side. Those are pretty big. Well, ostrich eggs are, after all, the world's largest eggs. They are laid and weighed at about 3 pounds each, and they have a shell structure so strong that they can withstand a full-grown human being standing on top of them without a single break or crack. Therefore, they don't need to be incubated, babysat, or watched over at all times because they can pretty much protect themselves. I'm a little envious of those eggs. They can protect themselves better than I can at 20 years old. It just looks like we've made our way into the Makani Glen, which is the newest addition to the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now, there's only a couple of residents, and maybe we'll hopefully get lucky to see if anyone is out and about. like the scimitar horned oryx are out and having a snack. Scimitar horned oryx get their name from those beautiful scimitar sword-shaped horns that they grow on top of their head. They are very well adapted to the dry and arid deserts, as they do not break a sweat until their internal temperatures reach 115 degrees. They can also go out 9 months without having a single sip of water because they're amazing water conservation within their bodies, and those beautiful creatures are deemed completely extinct in the wild. Well, my friends, it does look like our 2-week-long safari here on the Harambe Wildlife Reserve is coming to an end. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I hope you photographed and journaled all of those amazing experiences. Once you get back to the village of Harambe, friends, please be sure to share those photos and experiences with your friends, family, and even the villagers alike. It's really important that we talk about the animals that we saw. After all, the residents on the reserve are either completely extinct in the wild or are near extinction in the wild, and therefore they can only be found on beautiful reserves such as this. It's our job to save those wildlife in wild places, and with that in mind, friends, I hope you found an animal that absolutely stole your heart. If so, make sure you find an organization that works closely with them. Make donations or volunteer your time. If nothing else, friends, just knowing more information about them. Because the more we know about those animals, the more inclined we are to help them. And while it does feel like a small difference to us, it's a life-changing difference for them. If there are any wilderness explorers on board, welcome aboard, explorers. The name of the truck you've been on for the past 2 weeks is the Simba 1. Simba, S-I-M-B-A, and the number 1, the Simba 1. Now's as good a time as any. Make sure you check your rows. Gather all those personal belongings. Backpacks, phones, purses, wallets, keys, kids, parents, in-laws, Mickey ears, lightsabers. Grab them all. Take them all. We don't want any of those personal belongings. We appreciate your kind gesture, but we are not in need of them.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.